might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster.
Not bad.
The parts you need, even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
I'd lose my mind. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. I almost said something else there for a second. My brain is shut off there towards the beginning of the race, but we are all set to go to road course racing here. Going to do some left turns and right turns here. And I'll tell you, I'm excited. My name is Brian Britt. Of course, we have none other than Alfonso Nixon, or Big Al, as he's otherwise known as my co-commentator. Of course, Kobe Jordan down behind the cameras. We're set to go racing here at none other than the Circuit of the Americas, which is quite a doozy of a racetrack. Very long lap times at this place. One of the longest, I think, road courses we probably see all season, Big Al.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I'm excited to be here, Brian, because this is a chance to showcase not only the talent of the drivers, but the versatility of the cars, man. So being actually out here on the road course, you know, we started this season, we've already done a super speedway, we've done the short track. It's only right that we get our first road course under the belt. And I think with some names that I'm seeing here, Abner Acosta's in the field tonight. That's going to be pretty exciting.
Oh, that's going to be really exciting. And looking at the lap times he's hitting in practice, I mean, he might be another Abner Acosta special here. You know, he usually shows up and dominates races, especially road course races. We do have some other drivers that have made their presence known here tonight. I know Jai Schultz is apparently a very good road course racer. Of course, we already know Matt DeCiani's a good road course racer. One driver I know that seems to have stepped it up this season when it comes to road course racing is Brandon Pasalacqua. He's showing a lot of pace in practice. We'll see what they can do in qualifying. Of course, we see DeCiani out on the racetrack right now. Let's take a look at the race details and see exactly what should we expect here. What's going to be somewhat of the features of tonight's race. Of course, this is the Advanced Auto Parts 161 at the Circuit of the Americas. We have 47 laps on the docket here tonight. Stages are set to be 9 and 21. Of course, no cautions for these stages, which means we'll just stay green. It'll be just these guys will keep on racing, and we'll tally up those points. We'll freeze the field at the end of lap 9, and of course at the end of lap 21. These guys have 3 sets of tires altogether. 2 if you take out the one that they're wearing when they start the race. Of course, fuel window is 23 laps. You know what that means? That means these drivers can make it through both stages, 1 and 2, without having to pit. That's going to be curious to see how that plays out. Will anybody maybe hit pit road early, or will they run all the way to the end of stage 2? Also, with the fuel window being 23 laps, this race is 47 laps long. That means we might just barely not be able to make it to the end of this race on gas. Now, could we see some saving? I think it's definitely a possibility. But of course, let's take a look at the point situation coming into tonight's race in the ISCA. Of course, last week we saw Bristol Motor Speedway was a really great race. We saw, I do believe, Jeremy Sumter come out there and absolutely dominate. I mean, it was a driver we don't really see a whole lot in this series. Showed up in the second race and won the race after qualifying on the pole. I don't see him in the race here tonight. But Derek Heitman right now at the top of the board in points, of course, has 2 wins. He's the only repeat winner so far this season. Of course, Brian Johnson, he sits in second place, 8 points back behind Heitman. Randy Mullins is in third. Matt Niciani is in fourth. Patrick Gitter sits in 5th place. Miller Bonds is in 6th. Mark Sanchez, he's in 7th place. Alexander Carr, 8th. Brandon Pasalacqua slowly but surely trying to claw his way back up through this championship points. He's in 9th. Kenny Powell is in 10th. What I'm curious, I'm seeing Alexander Carr. He's been slowly working his way through the championship points. Really loving to see that. It seems like he's got this season a little bit more figured out than seasons past. I really like what I'm seeing. But I tell you, this is going to be an interesting race. No cautions, nothing to save these drivers, Big Al. And I think that's going to be the biggest deal about this race. I mean, we see races like Bristol, races like, all the races we've seen thus far this season, we've seen cautions be able to come out and and allow drivers to reset. There is not going to be that tonight.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about just that very fact. Drivers are going to have to manage their fuel in order to be able to make this thing with one stop. So excited to see how that's going to play out. Also excited to see who's going to take 4 tires, who's going to take 2 tires. The tires even going to be an issue. I don't think they're going to be. So that's lot of variables out there tonight.
That's a great question. Yeah, I think we're going to have that answer later too, Big Al. So, yeah.
Yeah. We actually were plagued with tire issues last week, as was the actual NASCAR series. So, coming into it this week, will that be a factor? And it's awful sad to me when it is a factor, Brian, because when the drivers come out here to race the car, they should just be out here racing on their merit. They shouldn't have to worry about, whether or not the tires are going to be sufficient.
Yeah, I don't think these guys are going to be worried too much about tires. Some drivers might take tires. We'll see how it kind of plays out. I think it's all about how you drive it. But now's a good time. We'll take a quick step away. We'll pay some attention to our some sponsors. But before that, we'll, of course, play our national anthem. Definitely, we'll be right back and with our starting grid.
Stole it.
You see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, you're still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series at COTA. Of course, we're going to go ahead and run through the starting grid very quickly. Abner Acosta is going to be starting up on the pole. We had a little bit of a premature movement here from the pace car, but Matt DeCiani is going to be starting on the outside pole. Brandon Pastelacqua in third place. Kyle Holden is in fourth. Derek Heitman in fifth. Jai Schultz first start here in sixth. Tim Wortman Jr. in seventh. I think Tim Wortman Jr. had a big issue getting gridded there. I don't think he's actually going to be seventh. Eighth, Brian Johnson. Ninth, Miller Bonds. 10th, Greg Wojcinski. We're getting ready to go green, so we'll just have the top 10 called out. Green flag is getting ready to wave as we enter the Geico restart zone. Abner Acosta going to go up to the gears. He waits till the absolute last moment to go. He still hasn't gone. They just exited the restart. There it is. Green flag is out now for the first time. They waited until essentially they got to the start-finish line. That's something I was not really expecting, is we're going to see 3 wide going into turn 1 already as Brandon Pastelacqua sends it in, and he's going to possibly try to challenge for the lead here as Abner tries to hold on. We see, of course, some spinning tires further back.
Yeah, we got cars sideways on the racetrack, further towards the back of the pack.
And that was Kenneth Bartholomew into 73, spins out, goes all the way back to last place.
Now, he did start kind of in the back, Brian, so whatever ground he did gain has now been unfortunately washed away.
And I think we have a replay here dialed up. We'll be able to see the 73 spin out here. And it looks like it's off the bumper of the 9 of J.C. Evans.
J.C. Evans.
Yeah, great job from our producer, Kobe Jordan, able to identify that. He's going to be doing that a lot tonight because there's going to be a lot of incidents that are going to be hard for us to see. Derek Heitman with some issues. There's some more stuff to look at. Derek Heitman is plummeting through the field now, I do believe, all the way to 19th right now. So the 76 with issues. And you see him sideways. Of course, we're going to have to go back a little bit further to see exactly what happened here. But clearly,
that's
he just got loose by himself here.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because, these guys are actually starting to race on pretty cold tires.
Wow, look at that.
When you have an issue like that takes place, that's pretty much going to take you out of the running for anything. because we're not stopping the race for anything tonight.
And that's the thing I even touched on a little bit earlier, that this race, I mean, if you make a mistake like that, there's almost no chance you can win this race unless everybody in front of you essentially makes a bigger mistake. But this race is all going to be about limiting those mistakes here. Of course, Abner Acosta now with about 9/10 of a second lead on Brandon Passalacqua. Matt DeCiani, he's about 1.6 seconds back from Passalacqua. Of course, Josh Schultz, driver, this is his debut in this series. He's up to fourth, so great job to him. Of course, he's being followed closely by Brian Johnson, who's about 3/10 of a second back. As we see, I do believe Johnson drafting up on these straightaways. That's going to be something we're going to see at this racetrack, is in these long straights, there's going to be a lot of drafts as we watch, looking at the 58 at Jai right now.
Hey, can we see what happened with the 18?
Looks like I didn't even know something happened with the 18. So Alexander Carr, Greg Wyszynski as well having some issues. We're seeing drivers having issues all over this racetrack. And that is the 5. Let's if we can't find the 18, the 5. Caution flag is out.
What the hell? This should not be a caution flag. What is going on here?
Kenny Powell has
thrown the caution flag. Is that because one of his G&G teammates kind of got washed up, Brian, you reckon?
I don't think so. That would show favoritism, and I don't think he would do that for sure. I do not expect that to be the case, but Greg Wyszynski did spin out, and Kenny Powell, of course, was running in last in 24th. So for some reason, the caution flag has come out. Now, this is going to be something we're going to have to get to the bottom of. I do believe I think the best way to get to the bottom of this is talk to Kenny Powell himself.
Yeah, can you pull him up? He's probably busy, though, if he threw the caution.
And it does not appear he is available in our Discord.
You know, this is going to have huge implications for the rest of the race, because now you're getting that buffer that you needed that's going to take the fuel out of the question, because riding around even on one caution lap is going to give you the fuel savings that you need to get over that hump. So that takes the management part out of this thing. And then the next question is, how many caution laps do you run?
Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely a really great question. But no, the point you just raised before that about the fuel, that's 100% fact, Big Al. There's not going to be any issue when it comes to getting to the end of this race on just one stop now, even if you didn't pit right here. This also brings a lot of drivers back into this. I mean, you know, drivers like Tim Wortman Jr., who had that really, really bad start. I mean, really, I know we were under commercial when this happened, but we had Tim Wortman Jr. that was sitting in front of a bunch of drivers before the pace car started moving, and it seemed like a lot of drivers got stuck behind him, and that is going to allow a lot of drivers to recover from that. It's going to allow Tim Wortman Jr. to recover from that, and that could possibly be even maybe while the caution was thrown. Maybe. I mean, I'm just shooting here.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you know the countdown. Drivers know how long they have. They know to be in their car.
That's true.
I mean, you have to be responsible, man. This is just like going to work. You don't get to show up late and then expect to have everything work out in your favor. I mean, there's got to be penalties for that. You know, to all of the drivers that would have run this thing clean, they're actually going to get a little frustrated because the field is going to be put back together again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like you had Derek Heitman, who made a tremendous mistake, got loose on the cold tires, and he plummeted to outside of the top 20. He's going to get an opportunity to start working his way back through this field and have a lot easier of a climb up the mountain, essentially. But no, I definitely agree. I feel like this is going to be really frustrating for a lot of drivers because, this is not what they signed up for. They signed up for a race that was not going to have a caution.
You know,
and now there's caution. So, I mean, it's definitely not according to plan, for sure.
Yeah. I inadvertently, I have thrown a caution or two in my career. And I'm going to tell you, man, short of death threats, I mean, people were not happy with me.
Yeah, they weren't very happy about it. But, I mean, I'm surprised you're even mentioning it. I mean, you might get some renewed anger towards you again. They might think you did it this time.
Well, no, I don't have the controls anymore.
they took them from you as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. I had my privileges stripped.
Well, let's take a quick look down at the top 10 right now. Abner Acosta, of course, sits up in the lead. He qualified on the pole and has stayed there so far. Brandon Passalacqua, he wasn't that far off of Acosta's back bumper. He sits in second. DeCiani, of course, is in third. Josh Schultz is in fourth. Kyle Holden is in fifth. Brian Johnson's in sixth. Miller Bonds is sitting in seventh. Randy Mullins is in eighth. Mark Sanchez up tonight. Definitely a good road course performance from him so far. Jose Medina, he's in 10th. This is we'll see how this goes. I mean, I think the pace car lights should go off this time by, but if you're just joining us, we had a little bit of some drama here on the racetrack. Caution was thrown, and we're not exactly sure of the source, or we know who threw it. We just don't know why. And I'm hoping that maybe we can get an answer at some point.
And this is at least 2+ laps under caution as well. So, I mean, yeah, just not a fun time right here.
And I just wish that we had Al to talk to. I feel like it would clear things up for a lot of people if we had him to be able to speak to.
Yeah, and this will be a single file restart. This is a road race, and usually there are no cautions on road racing, but if there are, it will be a single file restart.
That is true. A lot of times in open wheel racing or road, any kind of road course racing, you do see that single file restart. We'll see if that's going to be the case here today. You seem to believe that that's going to be the case. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. NASCAR, is that how they usually handle it in NASCAR as well?
Yes.
On road courses? Okay. Well, that's going to make it, I think, even more hectic, though, Big Al, because that means that you're further back from the lead, so you're going to have to be really aggressive on this restart if that's the case.
And you're hoping that everybody in front of you tightens it up, because this is not the time where you want that whole, that worm effect. You know what I mean? That lag effect. You want drivers to be close. Look, we got action on pit road. Some drivers are making it. They're ironing the wrinkles out of their plan there, Brian. I mean, this is definitely it's a smart move. I would have did it.
Yeah, we have a lot of drivers that are. I think Matt DeCiani has elected to come down pit road.
I was wondering why.
Brian Johnson also coming down. So a lot of drivers topping off. Well, yeah,
I was wondering.
Top off in gas. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering why these guys didn't come down on the first lap, but it makes sense. You want to run that extra lap, burn as much gas out of that car as you can. So when you top her off, you don't have to worry about making it to the halfway point. You got a little bit of cushion that's going to take you past that, and that's going to work out in your favor, because now you're not so worried about coming down pit road at the same time as everybody else, and you kind of get to see what strategy everybody else is running.
Well, pace car lights are still on, so apparently, and of course the pace laps are 4 minutes long here. So I think now's a great time. We're going to take a step away, and while we're gone, I'm going to go see if I can't talk to Kenny Powell, get some information from him. That way we can kind of, scratch that satisfying itch I think we all have in our minds. We'll be right back.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like the green flag is getting ready to come out. As, of course, we did find out the reason for the caution. Of course, it was that bungled, I do believe, gridding sequence that did cause that caution to come out. But I do believe green flag is
side-by-side restart.
Yeah, side by side. So definitely been a lot of surprises here tonight.
Yeah, Big Al, I'm going to be quiet because it appears that I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't think a lot of us know what we're talking about, Big Al. We're just here taking it step by step as Babner Acosta, of course, up through the gears in the lead. Side by side, though, is Jai Schultz and Kyle Holden as they battle for that third place position. Looks like Kyle Holden
there.
Third.
Yeah, so now that this field is back together, it gives everybody a chance. We did see half of the field actually pit, the other half didn't. That's going to work out very good in some people's favor when it comes down to those green flag pit stops, which do have to happen regardless of how the wind is blowing. They're going to have to make green flag pit stops.
And, of course, green flag will fly hopefully until the end of the race. And as I mentioned, we did find out what happened that caused this caution. We, of course, had questions of whether it was teammate alliances or allegiances or something that brought that caution out, but it was not. It actually had a lot to do with Tim Wortman Jr. not going on the grid. And, of course, it just led to a huge spread out, all the competitors essentially being spread out. And Kenny Powell made a decision, and, of course, that is the results of that decision, essentially. But now everybody's all together. The competition is going to be at a race a lot closer, and we also have solved some issues when it comes to the fuel. We do still have some racing here. Matt DeCiani, who was one of the drivers that did choose to pit and spend a little bit of time on pit road, he's moving through the field quite quickly, up to 5th place now. Just got by Miller Bonds. Now, I'm curious all that pacing these drivers did around this racetrack, if that's enough to make it to where you could just make it one stop. Otherwise, I don't understand why Matt DeCiani came down pit road for just a moment. Because, I mean, he just did a fuel. That was a fuel only. That was the only thing he did. As we're looking on board, I do believe, who is this we're watching? This is DeCiani right now as we're looking on his roof cam as he's catching up, I do believe, to Jai Schultz right there in front of him. So this is going to be a really great, I think, camera angle or just driver to watch specifically to see where the passing zones are. I don't know if this track has a lot of them. We do have to keep in mind, this track was purpose-built for F1. This is not built for NASCAR Next Gens or NASCAR vehicles and all. As Matt DeCiani expertly takes the pass into turn 1, I do want to turn our attention to the 76 of Derek Heitman. He fell outside of the top 20, and he's now banging on the back door of 10th place. He actually just got up to 10th place. So that caution, Big Al, saved the 76.
Yeah, congratulations to him for that little yellow flag. I mean, Ralph was down there loving on Barbara Ann, and then Kenny threw it was just all messed up because he wasn't even supposed to be on until the last lap or so, right?
Yeah, I mean, he thought that he was going to be all right, but as we see a battle start to come to fruition here between 9th and 10th, of course, that being Tim Wortman Jr. and Derek Heitman. We also have that battle for 3rd place. Kyle Holden just got passed by Matt DeCiani as we see a big send from the 76 of Derek Heitman. He gets a 2-for-1 special moves up to 8th. He just got by Tim Wortman Jr. and Jose Medina in a couple corners. How about that?
Yeah, and you mentioned that this is a track that was kind of developed for F1, but man, it's awesome on the prowess that NASCAR can actually, because we would have never been able to come here with the last gen car. It would have never happened. But now, this car allows us the ability to run on tracks like this.
I mean, that is definitely true. This car is a lot better adapted to road course racing, but it still is a NASCAR car. Even though it's got the rear diffuser, even though it does produce a little bit more downforce, it does not produce near as much downforce as the cars that usually drive on this racetrack with F1. I mean, those things are like fighter jets that are able to fly around this track fairly easily. These cars do handle a lot more like I'd say a GT3. Maybe a little worse than a GT3 actually, but they are very fast. Of course, it's very. I think one of the keys to getting around a racetrack like this is going to be throttle control, being a little bit more gradual, getting back to the gas.
Speaking of throttle control, had a car coming around the corner there, just lost it.
We're having a problem hearing you there for a second there, but I heard you said there was a problem. Abner Acosta is in the midst of a battle with Brandon Pasalacqua. This is probably the most heated battle we've seen for the lead all race long. As Pasalacqua, he is looking hungry here today as he's going through the S's, and he is really making hay while the sun shines here on Acosta. Really love what I'm seeing from the 6. I mean, he is looking strong right now.
Putting pressure on Abner, which is good, just letting them know that, hey, yeah, buddy, you're still in a race and you're not just able to just kind of sit back and take it easy.
And a lot of times when we see Abner out here on these road courses or tracks like, that take a lot of, I'd say, braking, because Abner seems to be always a braking expert, seems to be really good at using that brake pedal and getting the most speed out of his race car at tracks that require a brake pedal. It looks like he is not having an easy time. I mean, it looks like Brandon is really beating on his back door right now. And usually Abner, we've seen him in other races at road courses before, Big Al. And correct me if I'm wrong, but usually he drives away. Usually it's like, see you later. Nobody's got nothing for me. But this race is looking different. It's looking like Pasalacqua has got him right where he wants him.
Well, and another thing is we've had more time. The more opportunities you get to run a track, the more guys are going to get familiar with it. And it's one of those opportunities that maybe Brandon is a little bit more familiar with this track than, say, Abner is. So I think it's awesome. Like I said, it keeps them honest, and it gives us something else to talk about.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of, I think Brandon has clearly been working on honing his craft. I think that's clear as day. That he has been really putting forth the effort to practice, and this is a track that it requires it. You have to know this track like the back of your hand. It is a very technical style racetrack, as of course it looks like Abner a little bit better on the straightaways going into turn 1, so he's able to pull away. Got about a 0.6 of a second lead. One thing about road course racing, though, Big Al, that we see all the time is that some drivers are better through certain sections, and it seems like Pasalacqua is better through these S's.
Well, you got to understand, too, this track has 16 turns, and you need to be perfect on each one of those turns. And you got to be able to drive whether you got somebody in front of you or whether you're being pressured from the back. You got to be able to know how, when to get on the brakes in the turn so you don't lose momentum. I mean, it's a lot going into this. It's not just, kind of counting around till you got to turn left again.
And we do have other battles, of course, going on the racetrack. I do want to turn our attention back to 5th place. Jai Schultz is under fire right now for Miller Bonds. Miller Bonds in the 12 machine, of course, he's got a little bit of a new look this season in blue. Used to be in gold. I got to say I missed the gold paint scheme. But he definitely has been showing up and showing out this season, looking to get himself some good finishes. Also, we have another battle going on further back between 10th and 11th. That is right on the edge of the points. And speaking of that, we're going to be starting, I do believe, the white flag lap for stage number 1 here very shortly. So Wachensky trying to hold on to that, of course, point for the stage. And we know how important these stage points are, even at a road course. And it looks like Johnson does make the pass.
It's the only opportunity you're going to get to make points, and that's just it. And now tonight you get to take those points, and you don't even have to stop. Watching the 9 get a little bit loose there.
And that, of course, being the 9 of J.C. Evans. It looks like he's trying to hold off. I do believe Randy Drumhiller. He's got Frank Flores not too far out in front of him. Of course, Greg Wyszynski.
Ooh,
there he is. The 9 having another issue. Ooh, right in front of Bender. Now, I do want to actually say something about John Bender. Apparently, his name is not pronounced Binder, which I had thought. Kenny Powell corrected us in that. We have been saying his name wrong for months.
Yeah, when you said Bender, I was like, who the heck is Bender?
It looks like Binder. I mean, I think it was a easy mistake. I'm surprised he didn't correct us. I mean, but Kenny Powell gave us a little bit of word after last week's race and told us that we had been saying it wrong for so long. And I know he's one of your favorite drivers.
I should have questioned you. I knew you were wrong. I mean, wow. You know? No.
Yeah, of course. Brian Johnson just made a pass on Mark Sanchez for 9th place. Brian starting to scoot his way through the field. Now he's going to try to see if he can make up the 5 seconds. That is the gap between him and Tim Wortman Jr., who's up in 8th place. Of course, the gap for the lead is about 9/10, about a second. So Abner has started to settle in and start to pull away.
You want to give us that top 10 there, points span positions?
I think once we cross the start-finish line will be the points. I do believe as they cross the finish line, that will be how they will finish. So I think that Abner still has a few corners left to go before he actually will be declared the winner of stage number 1, but he's definitely getting close. Of course, anything could still happen. He could make a mistake coming out of one of these corners, and that could give the stage win to Brandon Passalacqua. But they're coming through a very technical portion of the racetrack. Of course, this racetrack located in Austin, Texas, as they come through the Whataburger corner, which is a Texas favorite, Whataburger. I actually ate at a Whataburger before. Very tasty burger joint as they come out of turn number 16 onto the straightaway. And Abner Acosta will win stage number 1. Of course, Brandon Passalacqua comes home in 2nd place. We still have another 4 seconds before Matt DeCiani is able to claim his 3rd place spot. What I want to draw attention to is look at the spread and the top 5. Matt DeCiani 4 seconds back from Passalacqua. Kyle Holden, he is 9.5 seconds back from DeCiani. So it's going to take a little bit of time, Big Al, before these guys to claim their stage points.
Yeah, indeed it is. And this is what this is what you don't want. You just don't want Abner just to be able to drive away with this thing.
And I don't think he will. I mean, Brandon's keeping him. I mean, he moved up to now 7 tenths behind Abner.
I think Abner's gonna. I think he's gonna kind of kick it in the butt and go.
He could. He very well could. But what I think is like we saw that decision, pit road decision from DeCiani to come down top off on gas. And if Abner and Brandon can make it on fuel when it comes to a 1-stop, I think that might have been a waste of time, and it could have actually hurt him really here. But let's run down through the rest of the top 10. Of course, Kyle Holden, he's going to finish in 4th in stage 1. Miller Bonds in 5th. John Schultz going to be able to get 6th in his first race here. Derek Heitman, of course, what a recovery from him. Fell all the way back outside of the top 20. He finishes in 7th in stage 1. Tim Wortman Jr., he finishes 8th. Brian Johnson in 9th. And Mark Sanchez, he's been getting a lot of points here this season. He finishes 10th. Of course, Abner Acosta now 1.2 seconds on Brandon Passalacqua. Of course, we have Randy Mullins back in 11th, starting to make his way forward and possibly going to challenge for 10th. Here, of course, that's the 54, as he is really running down Mark Sanchez. Now, Randy is a driver that we've seen just improvements by leaps and bounds. We've heard a little bit of the story, Big Al, about how he got onto Paradigm. He had reached out to those guys and said, hey, man, would you guys let me on your team? And they didn't want an extra driver, Big Al. They only wanted 4 drivers on their team. But Randy had been improving such towards the end of last season that they had to allow him on the team. They said this guy is quick and he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, and he is definitely holding his own, so you can't be mad at him for that.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, we had a lot of insight when we had Brandon Passalacqua actually join us in the booth. Of course, I think that was the week of Atlanta Motor Speedway, I do believe. No, it might have been Vegas, actually.
Yeah, I believe I missed the Vegas race.
Yep. And he did a fantastic job. We loved having him in the booth. We see Randy Mullins, of course, has moved up into the 10th place position. But Brandon's showing he's got a lot of speed, and that was one of the things we talked about while he was in the booth was what he was doing to try to get himself to be better. And I think road course racing is something he's focused on a lot. You can clearly see that. But of course, Abner is starting to pull away here.
Jay Hone just made a pass. Looks like he got around Randy Drumhiller. That's going to help his cause, even though it's only for 16th place. But that's racing.
Yeah, I mean you gotta start somewhere. You gotta just try to move through this field. And we talked about it earlier that issues, mistakes, I think are going to be the name of the game here today. Lack of them, I should say, limiting them. I think everybody in this race is probably going to make a mistake at some point. It just depends on how big of a mistake it is. Can you recover from it? And can you capitalize on someone else's mistake? So if I'm in the shoes of a driver like Jay Hone, I'm just worried about trying to turn laps, stay in between the lines, and hope that other people have problems and I can get their positions. One thing that we talked about, though, is about whether these drivers are going to need to take tires at all. Now, that's something. Why would we ask that question? If you're just joining us, if you've never really watched Next Gen Racing on iRacing at road courses, you probably would be like, well, duh, they probably need tires so they can get better lap times. But one thing about this Next Gen and the tire compound they have in the sim, it seems like road course racing doesn't seem to burn the tire up quite as much. And as the fuel burns off, we see faster lap times, which is kind of crazy. We've seen that time and time before. We've seen strategy be able to play out to where that actually people were able to take advantage of that. Of course, you still can overheat the tire, as we see Derek Heitman drafting his way up to the 58 of Jai Schultz and makes a move to the inside. I think he's able to get that pass completed, and he moves up to 6th place. So Derek Heitman, he's definitely been the biggest mover here, I'd say, today, as he went from being up in the top 10 all the way back outside of the top 20 to up into 6th now, as he is going to try to chase his way down Miller Bonds. See if he could possibly get up into the top 5. Of course, Miller Bonds is right behind, about 9/10 back from Kyle Holden at the moment.
Yep, now looks like Abner's going to start to run into a little bit of traffic, so we'll see how that affects his lap time.
And that is something that we do have to keep in mind, that Abner has been in clean air thus far here tonight. If he starts to hit lap traffic, that could affect his handling. I mean, this track is, road course racing in general is, the biggest resource is downforce. I mean, that is what you need to really get through these corners quickly. And if you don't have that downforce, if you're in someone's wake, a lot of times that can hurt your speed, and that could be exactly what was hurting Brandon Passalacqua, as well, as the lap times have fallen to 1 point, or I should say the gap is now 1.7. So we're seeing a kind of a growing gap between these two drivers.
And it's my fault once again, but he's not getting in the lap traffic. Abner's in the 44 car. He just doesn't have numbers on his car tonight. That's Randy Drumhiller's number. So, I mean, that's the reason why I was thrown off, because usually the regulation requires that there's a number on the top of the car and on each side, as well as the back. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, I don't know either, and I'm wondering what the administration is going to do about that. I mean, of course, we've seen that Kenny Powell's definitely got the reins here. You know, will he disqualify him? I don't know, Big Al, but I know that I'm glad that you called that to attention, because we have to follow the rules, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But, of course, let's take a quick run down through the top 10 as they run right now. Of course, Abner Acosta, he's in the lead. Brandon Passalacqua sits second. Matt DeCiani, he's about 7 seconds back from Passalacqua, so he's been losing some time. He's in third. Kyle Holden fourth. Miller Bonds is in fifth. Derek Heitman catching up to Bonds right now. He's in sixth. Johnny Schultz is in seventh. Brian Johnson's in eighth. Tim Wortman Jr. ninth. Randy Moles is in 10th. And, of course, just to keep in mind, we do have a stage coming up. Now, I won't even call them stage breaks because we're not going to have a break. These guys are going to keep racing. There is no breaks out here. But, of course, it'll be at the end of lap 21 when we will see the stage points for Stage 2 being paid out to each driver that finishes in the top 10. Now, the only breaks these drivers are really going to get is when they go to pit road. I mean, other than that, I really think these guys are going to be physically worn out by the end of this race.
I tell you what, come lap 21, they will be starting to make decisions about how their futures look and how long some of them are going to stay away from pit road. Some guys are going to actually have to be making that decision. They'll be within 2 laps of their pit window once we get that point. But like you said, though, those 4 caution laps really did make a big difference in fuel consumption.
Yeah, for sure. No, they did. And as we see some battles throughout the field, I do believe we're looking at Blair Holloman, who's further back. This is, of course, outside of the top 15, I do believe. But still got some good battling going on back here, though. I mean, there's battling going on this track. And I got to say I admire everybody that showed up here. 24 cars. I mean, this has, I think, been one of the best seasons we've had so far, Big Al. And you could really tell, the success of this season because of how many drivers showed up for the road course race. I mean, a lot of times when we get, to these road course races in any league you're running in, especially in a NASCAR league, no one shows up for the road course race. But we had 24 cars show up. That's impressive.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know if I was in this league, I would be like, no, I'm not showing up.
Well, a lot of guys don't like road course racing. It takes a tremendous amount of skill, because like I said, you got to make 16 turns here, and each one of those 16 turns needs to be as perfect as possible, so you got to establish a rhythm.
Yeah, and you got to do 16 turns 47 times. So, I mean, it's not, that's a lot of turns to be making, and that uses muscles that you don't use. I mean, we were at Bristol last week. I mean, that's like the super speedway of short tracks versus this week. It's a road course where you have to memorize every part of this racetrack. I mean, Bristol's easy to memorize. Oh, a big wiggle there for the 76 of Derek Heitman as he is trying to catch up to the back end of Miller Bonds. But yeah, you have to, memorizing Bristol's easy. I mean, that's a half-mile track. This track is 3.43 miles. I mean, that is 16 turns that you got to know every turn. I mean, That's a tall order.
That's a whole lot of decisions to make, buddy.
It is, for sure. And that's a lot more time that you have to spend practicing. Like, you hear about drivers talking about, I just showed up and practiced for 10 minutes and it was ready to race. You're not doing that at a track like this.
Yeah,
you have to spend a lot of time.
You're not going to have favorable results, that's for sure.
Of course, the battle's still heating up there for that fourth place, or fifth place. Actually, it is for fourth place because Miller Bonds has been closing in on Kyle Holden as well. Kyle Holden, of course, sits in fourth. So we are probably going to start to see that battle heat up even further as Heitman tries to work his way up to fourth. But he's got a long distance to go to get up to Matt DeCiani. DeCiani is about 20 seconds out in front of Kyle Holden right now. So the gaps are huge at the moment, of course. But you can see that there is still battling. There are, almost like how gravity works in space. These guys are kind of a magnetically or gravitationally pulled to one another. As we see, I do believe a battle right here. I think that's Brian Johnson just got by Johnny Schultz, but Schultz down to 8th place. As we're now on lap 15, as we still see this battle that's happening for 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's definitely, I think, where the most of the action is on the racetrack. Ooh. This is going to be fun to watch. See, these guys are all over each other right now as Kyle Holden's probably hoping that Bonds and Heitman just get too busy with each other to focus on him.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case, Brian. These guys are definitely fixated on each other, if nothing else. And this is one of those opportunities. This is one of those times where you really do have to pay attention, because you do get target fixation on that car that's in front of you. And sometimes that'll cause you to lead yourself right off the track.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And visibility and stuff like that. You might, if you're running right behind somebody, it's very easy to lose track of your reference points. But then again, I mean, almost three wide. Kyle just pulls over. And I think that was a little bit of wisdom right there from the 59. I think he knew that those guys you always say it, big guy, they didn't catch him because he was cute. You know?
I love that.
They didn't catch him because he was cute. They caught him because they were faster than him. And I think Kyle realized that, and he was like, let me just pull on over and get out of these guys' way for an incident happens, you know?
Yeah, because there's plenty of racing left to go, man, and there's no sense of getting road rage, because it happens, you know, following that guy that's slowing you down, taking you out of your rhythm, you know, causing you to put unnecessary heat into your tires. All those things are things that you have to actually take into consideration.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and you definitely don't want to risk all the time that you spent practicing for this race and stuff like that on just trying to hold on to one position or two positions. I mean, you know, still great points that Kyle would get if he stays in that sixth place position. And I think he's got the speed to hold on strong. And you never know. If I was in Kyle's shoes, I would really be trying to watch Miller and Derek. Clearly they're faster than me. Why are they faster than me? That's what I would be focusing on and trying to see if I can learn something. That's the thing about a road course race. You can learn by watching others.
Oh, definitely. And there's plenty of opportunity to go to school around this thing, man.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and you can just see that how somebody's taking the corner a little bit different than you, and like, oh, let me try to apply that. And that's another thing that, you know, about road course racing is that, you know, this whole track, all 16 corners all goes together. You know, one corner, it might be more efficient to go through it, and you'll maximize your speed, but the corner before it might not make that possible. So you have to really weigh each corner and put them all together and try to figure out what is the sum total fastest lap that I can make around here by being efficient through all the corners, you know, together.
Yeah, and Abner is slowly catching Kenny Powell, so he is going to get into those lap car situations here sooner than later, which is awesome. He's actually going to do that before they even go into that pit sequence, Brian.
Yeah, for sure. We still have quite a while, I think, on the fuel here for even a driver like Abner Acosta, who did not pit. I do believe, still has about, I do believe probably about 6 laps, I guess, of gas left, if the fuel window is 23 laps. But, of course, we did have quite a number of pace laps when that caution was thrown earlier. So I think we might be looking at maybe 25 laps instead of what we had earlier. So we'll have to see how this kind of plays out. Will Abner have enough to just one-stop this race? If not, then if Brandon or Abner don't have enough gas to one-stop this race, then this gives maybe the race win to Matt DeCiani. Of course, we still have a long, long way to go before we can talk about race winners.
Yeah, the 73 is actually on pit road.
The 73 has elected to come down pit road.
But he's in the pits, so I'm not sure if that was I'm not sure if he ended up on pit road via tow or that was actually him driving himself there. I think it might have been on the hook, though.
Yeah, I think that's Kenneth Bartholomew, of course, in the 73. We see he is sitting on pit road. I'm wondering if maybe he did have an issue that caused him to be. Actually investigate, see if I can't find out if maybe he did have an incident. No, I'm showing he actually did hit green flag stop. He did drive himself down there, which makes me think maybe, I'm not sure. He's spending a whole lot of time down here. I don't think he's going to come back out on the track. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. We do have a battle going on, though. I do believe this is Tim Wortman Jr. Fighting with Jai Schultz. I know Jai trying to hold on to this position. I do believe he was, I do believe, up to 6th at the end of stage 1. Has gradually started falling down through the field here. And I'm wondering what's going on with Jai. You know, of course, he's a driver we don't have a whole lot of experience. We don't have a whole lot of examples of his racing. But I have heard that he is a road course driver. But it seems like he is having a little bit of issues. You know, maybe not issues, but just not as good on the longer run, I'd say, than a lot of the other drivers. And I do, if I recall, he has more experience with the the V8 supercars, if I'm not mistaken, which is a different beast than this race car. Jai Schultz.
Okay.
Of course, he's an Australian driver, new to this series, and I guess he, in a lot of ways, is trying to play the SVG card. Considering, you know, he came from the V8 supercars and was able to win in his first race in NASCAR at the Chicago Street Course. But still, Jai, very impressive so far. And, of course, Tim Wortman Jr. has not been able to get by Jai. So it seems like maybe Jai got a little bit of kick in the rear, possibly. We'll see how that kind of plays out if Wortman's going to be able to catch up. But Abner Acosta in the lead. Brandon Pascalacqua, of course, in second place. Now, Abner has fallen back to about 3.6 seconds now, as we see, I do believe, lap cars have come into play. Someone just, other than Kenny Powell, just won a lap down.
Yeah, that's going to be
Greg Carr.
Alexander Carr. Okay, Greg Carr.
Yeah, that was
the
Greg
25
Carr,
yeah.
As he just went a lap down, but still big gap from Brandon. Brandon, I got to say, I thought Brandon was going to have more for Abner, as Kenny Powell kind of slowed down Abner a little bit there. A little bit of some scary things. I think it just depends on when Abner catches this lap traffic.
Yeah, exactly, Brian. Because sometimes it's just not a good time to catch a lap car. You know what I mean? It's just it's hard for you to get around them, so it kind of impedes both cars. But looks like Kenny is now going to be out into the wilderness, so he'll be okay. Don't think he's got anybody who's going to be on him for a while.
You know what I'm really finding interesting, and this is something I just noticed. Matt DeCiani is starting to catch Brandon Pascalacqua. Last time by, he was about 0.2 faster than Pascalacqua. Of course, the gap right now is about six seconds. That is a lot, but it's not enough that I think Matt can catch him.
Yeah, but he's also going to have to get around Powell also, and that's going to take a couple, tenths of a second off of you. I don't care where you catch him at.
That's true, but I'm just saying I think that Matt has a chance at possibly working his way up to second place. But yeah, Matt DeCiani is catching up right now to Kenny Powell. As I'm looking at that, of course, Derek Heitman, he's about 25 seconds back from DeCiani. I don't think he's going to have any chance to get up there and battle with DeCiani. But Pascalacqua got slowed down quite a bit by that lap traffic as well. Last time by, Pascalacqua hit a 213.671, which is well off of his fastest lap. As we're closing in, I do believe coming up to 2 laps to go in stage 2.
The distance between DeCiani and Heitman, I mean, it's like it's a different story.
Yeah, you see DeCiani just got by Greg Carr and almost had some issues. I saw Carr lock it up. Kenny Powell was able to get by Carr. They're battling for last, essentially, right now.
Hey, come on now.
No, each
position matters.
But DeCiani's getting by them. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's having any trouble. I'm just saying that I'm not saying that they're not allowed to battle.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that they're battling, and it could have been an obstacle for Matt, but it wasn't. Matt was able to get by them without any issue. I do find it interesting though that Kenny, that's just showing that there's battling all over this racetrack. That Powell and Carr are in the midst of a epic fight for like 20th.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And this race it's just continuing to go ahead and go. We're not even remotely close to halfway, right? 1 lap to go in this stage for Abner Acosta. He's already lapped 2 cars. I think he has the probability of lapping at least 1 more before they pit.
Yeah, I mean, and by the end of this race, he might lap up to 10th place. I think that's a possibility.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
his speed, he has not fallen off at all. Last lap, he hit a 2-minute 11.54. His fastest lap was a 2-minute 11.493. So he is about a half a tenth off of his fastest lap right now, which is crazy impressive. I mean, he is clearly the fastest car in the field. And it's Abner Acosta we're talking about. I mean, we've seen this before. I mean, when he shows up at a road course, it's his show. He takes over the reins.
Yeah,
I'm starting to see a battle between fourth place. Derek Heitman has not shaken Miller Bonds. This is still something that could be a battle. Kyle Holden just got passed by, I do believe, Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson has worked his way up into sixth place from lap number 20, getting ready to start lap 21. And, of course, at the end of lap 21, Abner Acosta, if he's still in the lead, will have won both Stage 1 and Stage 2.
And, there's some sneaky points in there for those stage breaks as well, Brian, because if you're just fortunate enough to be running in the top 10, I mean, you're still going to do pretty good on a road course. A lot of guys probably didn't show up. A lot of guys not doing well at all, so.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to get some points here. I mean, no, it does. It does. Just to even show up. I mean, some drivers didn't show up. I mean, I know Josh Schaffner took his provisional. Patrick Gitter took his provisional. Not going to be here tonight. We had quite a number of drivers that decided to not race tonight. But even so, we still had 24 participants show up. And it's going to be some great points if they have a clean race. I mean, this could be a make or break type of race. Showing up for this one, getting the points from the stages if you're able to. Even though we're really early in the iRacing Super or the ISCA Supercar, the Super Cup season, which does encompass the entire NASCAR season. We're early in this season right now. It still adds up. I mean, you could be looking for some points towards the end of the season, Big Al, and this could be where you could have got them.
Yeah, absolutely. So from Bender to Blair Holloman or Randy Drumhiller, man, those guys are actually running pretty tight right now. So when it comes down to green flag pit stops, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how they stack up and where they end up. And then right in front of those guys, you got Wachinski, you got the 54 of Mullins.
And, of course, Abner's just finishing up lap 21 here. He'll be crossing the start-finish line here momentarily, and he has about over 6 seconds on Passalacqua. So the gaps have been growing by leaps and bounds here on this racetrack. We do have, like you said, some people that are racing still. I know Greg Wachinski and Bender are fairly close to each other, Randy Mullins and Mark Sanchez. And we are still seeing battles on the racetrack. And I think we're going to start to see these guys gravitationally attract one another again at some point. I mean, you got to keep in mind, Big Al, that this is a 16-corner racetrack, and we've been out here for 21 laps, getting ready to be lap 22. These guys are going to start to get tired, and when you start to get tired at a track like this, without any brakes, you're going to make mistakes.
Well, this is the time where you need to start waking up because you're getting closer and closer to the halfway point of this thing. And now the leader now has the 18 car of, that's a car. I think that's,
probably if it's the 18, it's Alexander Carr.
Yeah,
that is
Alexander
exactly what it is. And I do want to say Abner Acosta just finished lap 21, so that will be the conclusion of stage number 2. Abner Acosta wins stage 1 and stage 2, so a sweep here. Brandon Passalacqua finishes second, Matt Lisiani in third, Derek Heitman in fourth, Miller Bonds is in fifth, Brian Johnson sixth, Kyle Holden seventh, Tim Wortman Jr. eighth, Jai Schultz in ninth, and Randy Mullins in 10th. That is a look at the top 10 that are going to grab stage points. As now the real race begins, we're going to run this thing until we get to the actual checkered flag.
Yeah, so watching Abner now, he's going to go ahead and he's going to get around the 18 of Alexander Carr, and now it's a tick-tock until he catches up with the 15. That's what we're going to be watching. And Brian, when he catches up to those guys, it's going to be boom, 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 and I think he's going to catch them before he actually has to start making those green flag pit stops.
What I think Abner's probably going to want to do is he's going to want to try to maybe almost jump them on pit road and not have to deal with them. That would be the ideal thing, but I think he's so fast that you're right. He probably is going to catch them. One thing that's interesting, Abner just turned his fastest lap of the race, so I think that answers the question of tire wear, Big Al. 2 minutes, 11.349 from Abner Acosta last time by. He is a second faster than the second-place driver right now. That is impressive. I mean, Abner is getting faster as the fuel stops weighing the car down. But that is a sign as well, though, that the car is getting lighter, which is a sign that he'll need fuel at some point soon.
That's exactly what that means. It means that his car is fast because it's light.
100%. Of course, he's
and
able to handle it.
Yeah, now he has those guys, and once he sees them, Brian, I'm going to tell you, it changes your whole mentality. It changes the mentality of the guy that's being chased, and it changes the mentality of the guy that's chasing. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and those guys are going to feel a lot of pressure having the leader bearing down on them like that, because they're not going to want to go a lap down. Not at all. But I don't think they're going to have much choice. I mean, Abner's going to catch them. He's going to pass by them. It just depends on, they could make things a little bit difficult on him, but I don't think they will. I mean, ISCA is usually a pretty respectable league when it comes to, being patient and things like that. But I just know these drivers aren't going to want to go a lap down. And even if they don't battle them hard, it still is that little bit of extra pressure having the 44. While I'm trying to battle somebody else, I'm trying to catch this other guy, and now I'm having to worry about somebody chasing me down.
Well, I think what will happen too, a possibility is those guys might just see him coming in and like to like you said, just go ahead and ditch it on pit road.
Yeah, it could definitely be the case.
The next lap they'll be in the pit window.
That's true. I mean, we are, I do believe, now coming up on the halfway point. We're 23 laps into this race, getting ready to start lap 24. Of course, that will be the halfway point. Now, I don't know. I think these guys are going to run the tank out because, I mean, fuel window is 23 laps. You definitely want to try to make it as far as you can before you decide to come down pit road. But then, like you said, that pressure from that leader could drive someone to come down.
Yeah, because right now you're just trying to run your races. Some of these guys might see the leader and think, okay, man, I need a break. I mean, because you got to admit there's going to be a little bit of a feeling of defeat maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely could be a feeling of defeat whenever you go a lap down, for sure. And also, these guys are, probably wore out. I mean, this is one of the most physically demanding races of the season. I mean, even though this race, like Bristol or other racetracks, they maybe longer distance, I'd say, longer miles wise. But this race, like time wise, takes a lot longer than some of those other races. Because, I mean, even without the cautions to slow us down, we're having to stop and start a lot more. A lot of these parts of this racetrack are slow, right? As we see Brandon Passalacqua, he comes down pit road. He's taking tires. Now, that's definitely curious. He takes, I do believe, he's taking 4. He is taking four tires right now, as he has elected to pop down pit road. I'm wondering if this is going to be, he should have enough to make it to the end.
But he's going to be slower, Brian. Just because he now has old tires, yeah.
He's going to have to warm them up. And that's one thing we'll see. It takes about 2 to 3 laps to get those tires really warmed up to where you can start hitting those same laps you were hitting before the pit stop. So,
and we've seen that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Brandon Passalacqua, he knows what he's doing. I'm not even insinuating that. I'm just saying we've heard drivers talk about it in the past that the curb was too steep, trying to warm those tires up to take tires.
Yeah, and also, he lost a lot of time on pit road. I mean, just a fuel stop probably takes, I think, about 10 seconds or so. But whenever you go down pit road and take a full set of tire, that takes more about 13 to 14 seconds. So that's a few extra seconds that you're having to waste on pit road that could be costly on the racetrack. We'll see how that plays out, though, as I do believe we're seeing some, I think that's Randy, who is that? Frank Flores. He got a little bit loose coming out of turn 16 there.
Yeah, we hadn't talked about Frank Flores. I didn't realize he was in the field tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's running 14th. Not running terrible, I got to be honest. I mean, he's good. There'll be some good points for him on the table if he's able to finish this thing. Is Abner Acosta leader, pit road?
Yep, we got business on pit road right now as we're just encroaching the halfway point. Also, the 15 car, he's going to be down on pit road as well.
Yep, green flag pit stops are underway. As I do believe, we'll see what it looks like. Matt DeCiani, he is going to take the lead. Well, of course, DeCiani did, under that caution we saw earlier, he did take a little bit of fuel. So I'm curious if that's going to, and it looks like I think Abner did not take tires.
14-8, yeah, he took tires.
Yeah, he did spend about 15 seconds in the box, so I think he might have taken
tires. That's a long
tires.
stop.
Yeah, just for fuel. I think you're right. 76 of Derek Heitman is coming down pit road.
Now, this is going to be Heitman's chance to, this is going to be Heitman's chance to actually get back out here and show us what he can do with his new lease on life, if you will.
Yeah, I don't see his car lifting up. I don't see Miller Bonds' car lifting up. That usually it's a sign that they're taking tires if their cars lift up on the jack stands. I do believe that is Tim Wortman Jr. He's coming to pit road.
Abner back out there and doing what he does
quickly.
the best.
He's quickly back out on the racetrack, rejoined. He's getting by some lap traffic. He got by Randy Drumhiller there. As we're now on lap 25. Of course, Matt DeCiani, he pitted on that first caution that we had, and that is why he's able to stay out a little bit longer than the rest of these drivers. I wonder how much longer does he stay out, as we see, I do believe that's Randy Mullins is coming to pit road. There's John Bender. He's coming into his box in the Sun Drop machine. Here comes Mark Sanchez. So everybody essentially on cue. Oh, Sanchez misses his box just a hair. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. As I think that's J.C. Evans, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's the 9. Coming to pit road, he's going to stop in his box, try to see if he could possibly get him some service. This is going to be essentially, Big Al, the only break these drivers get in this entire race.
DeCiani, Matt DeCiani electing not to pit again. He's going to continue to run. We got the 6, the 4, the 59. These drivers have not yet pitted.
I know Matt's going to not like this, but I remember one race, I think it was Sonoma, that Matt actually ran out of gas.
Man, you spoke that into existence, didn't you?
I'm just saying, Matt DeCiani at Sonoma ran out of gas. He had led half the race, and when it came down to green flag pit stops, he stayed out one more lap than he should have, and he ran out of gas.
And you said it 3 times.
I'm just saying that's what he did. And I'm just saying I don't think he's going to do it again here. It could happen. Big battle, though, going on, I do believe, right now between the 58 and the 12. Of course, that is Jai Schultz and Miller Bonds. As I do believe, actually, Schultz coming to pit road. And he'll be pitting from the 7th place position. All right. So with that, I think, we see Kyle Holden taking his stop here. I think now's a great time while everybody's kind of in the midst of pretty much finishing our stops. Well, we probably wait till DeCiani comes down pit road, and then we'll take our commercial break, giving them a little bit of some attention. But I think we'll probably be good to see when DeCiani comes down, if he maybe runs out of gas. I know that our producer has told us that we're working on actually having it to where our commercial breaks will be able to have a side-by-side, somewhat of a picture-in-picture, which is going to be great, Big Al. Don't you think? I mean, so we could see, our audience can see the action even while we're on commercial.
So why do we even have to take a break?
I mean, it's not really a break because we can still see the action. Here comes DeCiani to pit road right now.
Leader pit road.
Yeah, Matt
Also, you
DeCiani.
got Jose Medina down there as well.
And I'm wondering, this is going to be curious. When does Abner get by him? I think he will. I mean, already Abner is closing quite quickly. And I think by the time Matt completes his
he's
top,
by him
Abner's
now.
gonna, yep, there he is. Abner Acosta back to the lead. And I think Pasalaka was even going to get by him.
Watch out. The 18 stumbling, bumbling, and fumbling there.
Well, that's definitely not good, to stumble, bumble, and fumble.
Yeah, almost caused a significant emotional event for the leader as they got caught up in the corner.
But alrighty, now that Matt DeCiani has completed his stop and we have the field set here, we're going to take a brief step away. We'll pay attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Stock Car Association Super Cup Series. And I've just been informed by our producer that I looked like a fool on live TV because I said that we were working on having picture-in-picture for our commercial breaks. We already have it, apparently. So, yeah, definitely awesome, though, for sure. Of course, if you're just joining us, we're in a Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas. Doing 47 laps, 161 miles at this road course race, or at this road course. Of course, Abner Acosta right now in the lead. Of course, Brandon Pastelacqua, he's in second place. Matt DeCiani is in third. Derek Heitman's in fourth. Miller Bonds is in fifth. Brian Johnson's in sixth. Kyle Holden in seventh. Tim Wortman Jr. eighth. Jai Schultz in ninth. And Randy Mullins rounds out our top 10. Abner Acosta, of course, swept both stages. Go ahead.
And Abner Acosta has just lapped Frank Flores, which means there are only 12 cars left on this lead lap. So now he's got his sight set on.
Go ahead.
Oh, he's got his sight set on John Bender, Brian, and I just don't think it's going to take that long to catch him.
And I had said before our halfway point that Abner was going to lap up to 10th. I think I might need to amend that. I think he's going to lap up to 5th. Or 6th. I mean, he is quickly running down this field, and I think when you're pitting at a racetrack like this, I mean, it's very easy to make mistakes and stuff like that, and I think a lot of these drivers have definitely been wore out as well. I mean, this is exercise, at this track. I mean, I don't think this is physically easy. Like tracks like Daytona or tracks like mile and a half, you don't have to really be in physical condition or, physical condition to be able to race at tracks like this. I think I think tracks like this, you do have to be somewhat conditioned. I mean, this is not an easy track. If you got the force feedback turned up high, you're having to use your brake pedal a lot, I would not be surprised some of these drivers are sore the next day.
Yeah, that's the reason why I don't race anymore. Just too much work.
It's just too much. Well, I mean, tracks like this, you wouldn't catch me racing at COTA. But I'll tell you, it's putting on a good show for us out here.
Great show, man.
One battle we're starting to see, though, that's coming to fruition is back there for, I do believe, 11th place. 10th, actually. I think Randy Mullins has gotten caught by Greg Wachinski. Wachinski has been showing some speed, some top 10 speed. We saw Greg, before that caution flag we saw earlier, spun out. And the caution came out and kind of saved him in a lot of ways, and that's why we thought Kenny Powell might have did it on purpose for his.
Well, I'm going to tell you this: Greg Wachinski is literally running for his life. I mean, his spotters telling him they're calling the numbers out. He knows that Abner is on his way, Brian. I mean, in that cluster right there, that's going to put him lapping the top 10. So he is literally right behind these guys, and he's within 2 laps of lapping them. Now, do I think that he'll catch the 83? Man, I don't think he'll run that hard. I think Tim Wortman is safe in 8th.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it just depends on what happens here. But I'll tell you, this battle right now for 10th is on and cooking right now. I mean, and Bender, I gotta say, Randy Mullins, Greg Wachinski, and Bender right here, they're looking actually really fast. You could tell that these guys prepared a lot.
Yeah, these guys have been running with each other pretty much in the entirety of the event. So, they're a cluster. They know what each one's doing. They're comfortable around each other. So I think they're going to just kind of stick right here together.
And there goes Wachinski. He tries to make the move.
Rocking a new paint scheme, too.
Well, no, he fails, and this opens the door for Bender here. So Greg gets a little bit loose as he was trying to get past Mullins. So this fight has gotten even more complicated as we see Bender now trying to challenge for 11th. It's so great to see that Sundrop car performing well here. And he's competitive, and you love to see that. I mean, I know that a lot of times Bender, as we've been saying his name, I've been saying his name wrong for a long time. But it looks like he's got a fire lit under him now.
Here he comes to the inside of Wachinski. Going to be trying to take back his share of what would be 10th place.
And we do even have some battling in other parts of this racetrack. Blair Holloman, I think, just had an issue. Holloman just got passed by Randy Drumheller and Jose Medina in a quick, fast, in a hurry. Of course, this is the lap down drivers that are fighting here. Even up there, it definitely had an issue. So Blair Holloman spun his race car out, and that's, of course, lost him a couple spots. I think Mark Sanchez got by him. Jose Medina and Randy Drumheller all were able to get by him as he spun out in the S's, I do believe.
And, you know, all of those black marks that he left there, Brian, I'm assuming that those tires weren't turning, so either A, flat spotted them, or B, probably just warmed down a little bit more than he needed to. And that's going to make it pretty interesting for him, I'm sure, as this contest lingers on.
Yeah, looking back at this battle for the top 10, Bender just got by Randy Mullins. So now he's moved up into 10th. Randy Mullins, of course, back into now 12th. I think Randy's starting to struggle on his race car. Last time by, he was about a second or so slower than Binder and Wachinski.
Bender. It's Bender.
Look at that. Oh, yeah, you're right. Bender. My bad. But look at that. Abner, it's just forced a habit. And Abner is running these guys down right now. This is going to get complicated.
And this is where those guys are going to start to feel that desperation, because you know that he's back there. It's like he's breathing on your neck. He's reeling you in, man. And it's like you can't run fast enough. You know, you can't get out of the turns quick enough. And it's disheartening.
I mean, he's Abner Acosta. I mean, every lap he's turning some of his fastest laps. I mean, and he didn't catch you because you were performing well. I mean, he caught you because you were slower than he is. And look at that. I mean, just you could tell he's on the edge of control right there, the way he comes out of these corners. But Abner, just such a great driver when it comes to application of the throttle and his inputs. Look at how quick he caught up to the back of Randy Mullins' rear end right there. I mean, looking at lap time wise, let's just take a quick look at the comparison here. 2:11.691 from Abner Acosta. Randy Mullins, a 2:18. I mean, that is like 6 or 7 seconds difference in lap times. Abner drives right by the 54.
Yo, now he's got to get around the 5 too, Brian, because he can't waste time playing with these guys. He has got to make quick work of Wachinski and then Bender, because otherwise that 6 car is not getting any further back. He's going to be closing the gap as well.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon's not looking slow. I mean, he's starting to catch up a little bit here. Last time by, he was about 8 seconds back from Abner Acosta. And if Abner gets really deep in these lap cars and they slow him down, I mean, that could be the light that Pasalacqua needs. But we'll see. I mean, also Pasalacqua's going to have to get by these same guys at some point as well. And that could open the door for DeCiani to get back up to him.
You're going to need a lot more than just one light.
Randy Mullins, of course, still trying to catch up to the back of Greg Wachinski. Not quite able to do it. Abner Acosta now catching up to John Bender. Of course, that would put 10th place a lap down.
But Bender, he's actually doing pretty good right now. For whatever reason, it seems that he has lit his fire, man, and he's going to live another day as he is running for his life, trying to get away from the leader, Abner Acosta, to be the next victim to go a lap down.
Bender just ran his fastest lap last time by, 2 minutes 14.488. That's faster than the driver that's ahead of him, Josh Schultz. I think Bender, he is looking powerful and fast here. I got to give him a lot of credit. The 23, he's doing so good, we got to get his name right as he goes a lap down.
He's running fast and scared right now.
Well, now he's going to be following the best in the business. So, I mean, if he follows Abner and learns a couple things, he's going to be hard to beat at these road courses.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what your definition of following is going to be, but he's going to have to really step it up, though, because otherwise I think Abner's going to just put it in gear and go.
Yeah, that definitely could be the case for sure. I think that will be the case. I mean, Abner's gonna pull away from Binder, or Bender. He's gonna have a second to go to school, I think. Because of course, I do believe Passalacqua has gotten by Randy Mullins, and no, he hasn't yet. Actually, Passalacqua is starting to catch up to the rear of Randy Mullins and Greg Wychinski. But you can see Abner Acosta, he has more lap traffic than we think. We think that, okay, he's got to get by Josh Schultz, he's got to get by Tim Wortman Jr. He also has drivers that are one lap down already. He's got to get by. Greg Carr is coming up in the in front of him,
as well as Kenny Chestnut, Kenny Powell,
Kenny Chesney. I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, we call him Kenny Chestnut.
But I mean that's just more obstacles for Abner. But he's always under pressure.
He's already lapped those guys once, so it should not be an issue getting around him. I'm just watching to see if he can catch that 83 car, because that looks to be kind of a tough cookie for him.
I mean, it could be, but I mean he's right now lap time wise, he's 2 seconds faster than Tim Wortman Jr. every lap, and that, I think that means he'll probably get up to him. Now that might be where it stops. But we'll have to wait and see, as we're of course on lap 34, getting ready to start 35, as Abner Acosta shoots by Greg Carr to the inside. And Abner has led almost every lap here. The only laps he has not led was when he was on pit road.
And that was led by Matt DeCiani.
That is correct. DeCiani on a little bit of a different fuel strategy. He pitted under a impromptu caution we saw earlier in this race. And it looks like the 10-car Blair Holloman coming to pit road. I do believe he may be hanging up the wheel. He's hanging up the gloves, hanging up the wheel. I think he has had enough, and this is that time. I think we do see more of that, Big Al. I mean, this is, like I said, I hate to keep hitting on this, but this is a physical race. I mean, this is not a race that you're just gonna, I mean, I guess, just kind of like, I don't know, put your head down and just get through it. I mean, I think this is a race. You're not just, I'm just going to be out here loafing. Like, I'm just going to turn laps. I mean, this is a track that you're going to be, I don't care who you are out here. Even the slowest guy is going to be wore out by the end of this race.
Yeah, you're going to be extremely tired because, like you said, man, 16 times 47, that's what you're doing. 13 laps to go. These guys are definitely, the fatigue that you get there, just from a mental perspective.
Yeah, and that's not even something that we have. We've talked about the physical aspect. You just mentioned the mental. I think that's what we talked about, how hard it is to memorize this racetrack. It's easy, I'd say, maybe to memorize this track to get a fast lap, one fast lap, but that continually using those mental resources to remember every bit of this racetrack for 47 laps. All 16 corners. That's a lot of RAM or CPU usage, right? In your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all it takes is one failure when it comes to the mental department, and you're sliding off the track. Luckily, this racetrack does have a lot of runoff, which helps these guys out quite a bit. But I think there's no one sharper when it comes to the computer program, the computer resources, mental department, than Abner Acosta. This guy is used to running these types of races, and it's nothing to him.
Yeah, well, Jay Schultz has just been notified that Abner Acosta is on his way. So, Jay, make sure you save a spot at the table, because Abner is coming and he's going to eat your lunch. We need to call the ISCA on Abner. I mean, he's just bullying these kids, taking their lunch money, just going in there, taking their desserts. And, it's sad, man.
Yeah, I
What do
mean,
we
he's
call?
definitely the star of the show here. But I tell you, one driver we gotta give more credit to though is Pasalacqua.
Yeah,
This
Brandon's
driver,
definitely.
I mean, he has been looking really fantastic tonight, and I think a lot of this comes down to, as you see, he is dealing with some lap traffic right now. Of course, that being Bender and Kenny Powell. But Pasalacqua has him and the Paradigm Group. I mean, when they had the Daytona 24-hour race here recently, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was one endurance race that they had recently, and the whole Paradigm Group participated in that, and it's just that kind of team aspect of road course racing. I think that's helped sharpen the Paradigm Group, and that's why we're seeing Pasalacqua be so strong here at this track. I do want to turn back. I mean, I tell you, we talk good about Pasalacqua, and I think Abner doesn't want anybody to talk about anybody else but him, because he just turned the fastest lap of the race. 2 minute, 10 second, .925. That is a blistering fast lap from Abner Acosta. Wow. We get to talking about good about other people, and Abner's like, hold my drink. I'm about to turn a blistering lap.
So now he definitely has the 58 line there. You know, in all kidding aside, definitely some tremendous improvement from just in the league in general, Brian. And I think that has a lot to do with the equipment. You know, if we were running this race 2 years ago, not only would we have had lower numbers, but I think, you know, we wouldn't have seen as competitive drivers. We came out here tonight on a Thursday on a road course, and we had 24 drivers show up. And out of that 24, I'm still thinking we got like 21 that are still in this thing, and that's pretty dang impressive, no matter what racetrack configuration you set up in.
Well, I mean, it's definitely impressive that these guys are still running. I mean, even if they're a lap down right now, they're still, or even multiple laps down, they're still plugging away and trying to learn and get better. I mean, should be admired, and I do admire it. I definitely admire these guys. We're coming up close to 11 laps to go. Matt DeCiani just got by Kenny Powell. Matt is really running down Pasalacqua, though. I got to point out that DeCiani always been a road course specialist. Last time by, he was a half a second, about 6/10 actually to be exact, faster than Pasalacqua, and he's about 6 seconds back. It's possible, I think, Matt might catch up to Brandon, and we could have a thrilling battle for second.
Yeah, well, he's just got to really kind of get around Bender at this point, but first he has to catch him.
That's 100% fact. I mean, he's got to navigate by Bender, and Bender's not a slouch. I mean, he's not a slouch at all.
You said it.
Definitely a great race so far here tonight at the Circuit of the Americas. Of course, next week, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're heading to Richmond. So that's going to be an interesting
another short track.
Short track racing there.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank everybody for joining in, man. Being here with us, keeping us company, whether you're cheering for your favorite driver or just listening to my lovely voice.
Yeah, that's the only reason anybody tunes in, is to hear you. They hear
and
the
my
soothing
assistant.
sounds of yeah, that's right. The soothing sounds of Alfonso Nixon. But Abner Acosta, of course, he's the real star of the show here tonight, as he is now out to a 12-second lead. Having a little bit of some technical difficulties. I hope that doesn't persist. As, of course, at the moment, we have 9 cars on the lead lap. Soon to be less than that is, of course, Jai Schultz getting caught quickly. As we see, DeCiani has caught up to John Bender. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Yeah, like that's, I'm pretty sure that's not. I'm pretty sure that's Jay.
Well, it is Jai. I do believe.
Man, I'm wrong again. Okay.
But Jai, definitely a very good debut for that driver, the 58. Hopefully we see more of him in this series. Of course, hailing from Australia, I do believe. So definitely not terrible. Pretty good road eye rating 2,600. That's actually really good for a road I rating. A lot of the drivers, that's probably one of the highest road I ratings in here.
Yeah, mine's just under 3.
I do want to call attention to Abner Acosta's road I rating. 5,700. Yeah, this guy. No wonder. No wonder he's. I mean, that'd be impressive for an oval I rating, but that's his road I rating. That's crazy. He's done some road racing before. Like, clearly.
You think?
Oh, but yeah, fantastic performance from Abner Acosta here, and they ought to ban him from the road course races because he's so good.
Yeah, I'm thinking you could probably take 2 3s of a lot of these guys and put theirs together and still have a good shot at 5.
Yeah, and he's catching
Definitely
up quickly to Jai right now. Of course, Jai's I rating is about half of what Abner's is, but still, I mean, that's impressive to have a 2,000 plus road I rating because I think the discipline of road course racing is more. I think it takes a lot more mental power than it does than NASCAR does. The oval racing, I should say. I mean, of course, there are different aspects of it, but just the memorization of the racetracks. I think that's what's so important. Like COTA, all these different road courses are so different. You go to a track like Watkins Glen, which is a little bit more, speed. While this track is very technical, a lot of slow corners. Of course, we see Jai trying to hold off Abner. Abner, of course, is going to be drafting up, and there goes Jai. He moves to the inside. This is a wise decision. He knows that Abner is speed incarnate right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's an understatement. This guy's is literally on rails here, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, every lap he turns is faster than the rest of the field, essentially. Last time by, though, Matt DeCiani was faster than Abner. And, of course, Matt actually just turned his fastest lap of the race thus far, a 2-minute 11.458. So Matt DeCiani definitely starting to run down Passalacqua. The gap is now 5 seconds between second and third. I think this is going to come down to a battle for second. I think this is going to come down to Passalacqua trying to hold off DeCiani if it continues to trend the way it is. Now, I think that this is also going to light a fire underneath Passalacqua, though, because he's going to see, he's going to be looking at that relative like, hey, DeCiani's catching me. I got to do something here. Look at the gap, though, for third and fourth. I mean, that's almost a minute. That's 47 seconds between DeCiani and Heitman. That's insane.
Man, we're using every corner of this racetrack almost simultaneously as the field is completely spread out over this 3.4 mile track.
3.43, yeah. Yep, that's exactly what it is, Big Al. And definitely every bit of this racetrack being used as these drivers have gotten incredibly familiar with this racetrack. Now, does Abner catch up to Tim Wortman Jr.? I think you're right. I don't think he's going to catch Tim Wortman. I think Tim Wortman just hit his fastest lap of the race himself, a 2-minute 13.021. And this is that point in the race where even though these guys are probably exhausted, they know this track better than they ever have. And that's leading to fastest laps. I mean, Kyle Holden last time by just hit his fastest lap, 2-minute 13.229. These guys are getting awful familiar with this racetrack. I tell you, if we ran another one of these races tomorrow, I think we'd see some other drivers that might maybe not challenge for the win, but I think they do a lot better. As last time by, another one of Abner Acosta almost bested his fastest lap. That's a 2-minute 10-second 9.44. That is incredibly quick. Those are lap times I don't even think we're seeing in official races. I mean, Abner is out here blazing trails.
Yeah, man, definitely proud of the time that I spent with him, getting him to where he's at, especially on his road racing.
Yeah, you've been teaching him a lot. I believe it. I do believe we saw a little bit of some battling going on. J.C. Evans, I think, was maybe fighting with somebody, or I think that was actually Jay Hone fighting with Frank Flores, possibly.
Yeah, but J.C. Evans looks like he's moving really slow. I don't know if he's stuck, but either he's bleeding or injured.
He is still rolling, but he definitely had a moment where he lost some spots. And of course, looking back towards the front, Brandon Pasalacqua, I do believe we're seeing J.C. Evans actually had taken a pit stop, which is really, really curious why he would do that.
Especially
Maybe,
this stage of the competition. Yeah.
I don't know why he would have came down now. So we're going to take a look back and see if we can't get to the bottom of it. And it looks like, yeah, he did. He did take a green flag stop here.
Yeah, but that makes no sense. Unless he had his fuel turned off.
Yeah, I do believe we had a drive-through penalty. It looks like we got Paul Olson just joined us in the booth.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
All righty, so we got us a guest commentator. Paul, pretty tough night tonight, huh?
No, I ran 2 laps all week. One of them was in practice for this race, and the other one was during the race. I had no intentions of running this.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, I had no intentions of running it either, but I'm here to call it. Look at that. Abner Acosta turning his fastest lap of the race again, besting his lap. That's a minute 10.824. Look at that. This guy's getting faster and faster.
2.10.823.
Insanely fast from Abner Acosta in the 44 machine. He is a rocket ship out here as we're coming up to, I do believe, 6 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas.
It would be interesting.
Go ahead.
It is going to be interesting to see what the penalty is, because he does not have a standard car, does not have the numbers prominently displayed. So, I mean, I would say he should be disqualified.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they could even take 20 seconds from him or something like that. That would give Brandon Pasalacqua the win.
I mean,
it's up to Kenny Powell. I mean, of course, if he was fair and followed the rules, I mean, Kenny would probably disqualify him. Of course, you have to have numbers on the race car.
You're setting a standard there, Brian, because you let one guy race 1 week without any numbers, and then next week guys show up without even a car.
And it's a safety without even a. What are they going to have, a foot race? Somebody's going to be out here on a motorcycle. Yeah, 1 week they'll show up with an F1 car and then just be driving around people. Oh, we're kidding, ladies and gentlemen. We're kidding, ladies and gentlemen, but Abner definitely putting on it. Wow, look at that. Last time by, he just bested his lap time again. 2 minute 10.641.
You think he'll
faster.
You think he'll get 209?
It's possible. I mean, he cut off 2/10 out of that last lap. I mean, that is insane. He is catching up, though, to Alexander Carr in the 18.
A lot of pressure there on young Alexander. If I was him, I'd just kind of jerk it to the left a little bit. Just tap. I mean, it's just a suggestion.
I mean, especially if you ain't got no numbers on the car, might as well wreck him. Of course,
stranger things have happened, Brian.
I mean, we definitely have seen lap car wreck the leader before. And of course, ISCA has been in existence for a long time. We've seen about everything in the history of the ISCA. And I tell you, just love calling races in this series. Have awesome shows week in and week out. As Abner Acosta is definitely one of the best racers we've ever seen grace the road courses here in the ISCA.
Yeah,
One thing
man.
about ISCA, we always seem to attract the best talent in iRacing.
Well, you still got to give, props to Brandon Pasalakwa. He's been out here in the trenches all night, man, just fighting tooth and nail, just trying to make this thing somewhat competitive, right?
Oh, he's been doing a fantastic job. He's going to grab some really, really much needed points. I do believe coming into this race, I think he was just barely in the top 10 in the point standings. So he's going to need these points. I think this is a solid race for him. And, we're going to see him start to slowly claw his way back up into the championship hunt. Of course, last season, I do believe he made it to the Final Four. And I think we'll see Brandon make it again as we see a big wiggle there off the corner there from Matt DeCiani. Of course, Matt trying to catch up to Brandon Pasalakwa. He lost a little bit of time there on the exit. And he's got about 4.5 seconds to get up there to Pasalakwa. I think Pasalakwa might be safe if he continues to keep this pace up. I think he's going to hopefully come home with second. Last time by, he was a half a second faster than DeCiani. Do have a battle, though, for the lap down cars. Frank Flores, I do believe, in the midst of a fight with Jay Hone still. So there is still battling going on as we're now less than 5 laps to go here. A little bit of a lockup for Abner Acosta. Saw a little bit of a lockup there into one of the low-speed hairpin corners. But definitely battling still happening on the racetrack. Still guys trying to fight for points. Frank Flores never struck me as a road course racer, but I'm glad to see him out here taking care of business, still battling, trying to get that 13th spot. One position could be, could help him out a lot. Frank has got a lot of determination. I got to give him a lot of credit. He's always rising to the challenge.
I was getting ready to give him a shout out just for the very same thing. He's been out here tonight, man, and he's really put on a solid performance. So this is not an easy track.
No, not at all. This takes a lot of preparation to get out here and you have to memorize the track. That takes you have to do homework. This ain't just you show up and you know what you're doing. I even think it took homework from Abner Acosta. He probably didn't have to practice near as much as everybody else, considering he probably already knew the racetrack pretty well, having a 5,000 something I rating.
Yeah, I think he was born on pit lane here.
He might have been. But Abner Acosta out front as we're now just got started lap 44. So coming up next time by to 3 laps to go here at the Circuit of the Americas. Of course, Brandon Pasalakwa, he's 17 seconds back from Abner. Tim Wortman Jr., he's got about 10 seconds between him and the leader to try to stay on the lead lap. I think finishing on the lead lap in this race is an accomplishment of its own, I think, in a lot of ways. I think that's like winning the race, to be honest.
Yeah, only a third of the cars in the competition will actually be able to boast those numbers that they actually did finish on the lead lap.
That's 100% right. I think we'll give them some trophies as well. And I got to be honest, I would be curious to see what would have happened if we had not had that caution early in the race. What would the fuel have looked like? I think that would have been interesting to see. You know what I'd love to have seen here tonight as well, Big Al? We haven't talked about it, is the new rain system that iRacing has introduced to the sim. I think that would have been definitely a curveball for these drivers out here.
Yeah, definitely.
NASCAR
is always
try it yet. I haven't had the chance to try it yet, but I've heard a lot of people have been singing its praises.
Well, NASCAR's always, done their road courses in the rain, really.
Yeah, so maybe that'd be an opportunity to see that. I know I looked at the UI here, and there is, a little tab that says weather, and there's like a weather forecast. It says 0% rain, and Abner Acosta catching up 2, I do believe that's Greg Carr again, going a lap down. Greg got a little bit loose on the exit. Now 3 laps to go at the Circuit of the Americas.
Just 3 short laps, Brian.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be over quick. Also,
the man, Abner Acosta really did put on a show here tonight, man. And I know
we got to stop. A green flag stop here from Brandon Pasalacqua. That gives Matt DeCiani second position right now.
You think
I think Brandon might have been light on gas.
Yep.
Splash of gas here from Brandon Pasalacqua. My question is, does that mean Abner's going to have to stop? Because he is on the same fuel schedule as Brandon Pasalacqua.
Yeah, Brandon did stop on that lap prior to Abner.
So he stopped. He stopped a lap before Abner did.
Yes.
That explains it then. So he pitted prematurely. And that is unfortunate. That is going to cost Brandon 1 spot. And unfortunately, he's going to fall back to 3rd place.
I think he just didn't want to talk to me.
Maybe. He did say he didn't like you.
Man, that's heavy.
Derek Heitman taking a pit stop as well. He's just coming off the pit road right now. He fell from now 4th to 6th. So we're seeing some late race drama as he is now just got passed by Miller Bonds and Brian Johnson.
So you think these guys actually pitted prematurely? Like a lot of them, maybe.
I think so. It could be. And could Abner Acosta still have to pit again as well? That's a big question mark for me. I think Matt is good. Matt DeCiani is probably good. But Abner, there's a question mark there. Because, I mean, if Derek had to pit, I'm very curious.
2 laps to go.
Abner's staying out one more time. Yeah, so 2 laps to go now. Coming up to the white flag next time by.
You definitely don't pit on the white flag.
No, you definitely don't. And if he did have to pit, I think he might lose the race because Matt's not that far back. I think if Abner had to slow down to pit road speed and stop, that would be enough that Matt might win the race as a result.
I'm pretty sure Abner's good to go right now. I don't think he would have been pushing the car as hard as he was for this entire last stage if he was questionable on fuel.
No, I agree. I think that Abner has the discipline and the wisdom to know what he's doing. But it still could happen. I mean, I didn't think Matt was going to run out of gas at Sonoma either.
Well, he's got 22 laps right now.
And of course, he just got by Randy Drumhiller. And we're coming up to the white flag.
Might be closer than we think.
A little bit of a lockup there for Abner. It definitely could be closer. I mean, he might not have enough gas to do a burnout. Fuel economy, I think the fuel window, I should say, is 23 laps. And last time, let's see how long has he been out?
Yeah, he's going to come up a lap short.
He gets 21 laps.
To the window.
Run. He's going to come up right to lap 23.
So he's like, yeah, right now,
this is definitely going to be I think it's going to be a nail biter right here. As it comes out of turn 16 to start the white flag. He does not come in, so I think he's going to finish this race on fumes. But he's going to, I think he's got the wisdom, he's got the knowledge to know he can make it on this lap. I guarantee you he's been watching that. But it really doesn't matter no Big Al, considering he's going to get disqualified. So, I mean, it doesn't really even matter.
Yeah. That's probably why he doesn't even care. He'll probably just run right up and stop at the line. Just stop at the line.
The spotter's just telling him, yeah, they said you were going to disqualify you. Oh, we joking, we kid. We having fun up here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you've been having fun. We've definitely been having fun watching the ISCA here at the Circuit of the Americas road course racing. First road course of the season. And I know we have a lot more road courses this season as well. So if Abner shows up for all of them, I think we're going to see Abner school the field all season long.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we definitely will have to see.
This last one is almost in the books. He just has to make a couple more turns.
And look who's in front of him. Tim
the
Wortman
83.
Jr. Barely going to stay on the lead lap.
Tim is praying right about now. Lord, give me the wisdom to just stay on the lead lap.
I think he's barely going to make it. I mean,
yeah,
they're straight away apart right now.
Yeah, I think he's going to be
catching up quickly. But just a couple more corners left at the Circuit of the Americas. As here we go. Abner Acosta getting ready to enter the Whataburger turn. As here we go. I do believe coming up to the final corner, turn 16. Abner Acosta will dominate at the Circuit of the Americas. Has enough fuel to do it. And he leads almost the entire race. The only laps he did not lead were the ones where he was on pit road. And what an event. He wins stage 1 and stage 2, getting the maximum amount of points.
And he's not even in the points running.
Yeah, and his last lap was one of the fastest laps of the race. Matt DeCiani, of course, able to cross the line just now in second. He led the laps that Abner didn't lead. And, of course, Brandon Passalacqua getting ready to come across the start-finish line here in just a moment. He's going to finish in third. Great points day for Passalacqua. He finished, I do believe, second in both stages, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be an awesome points day for the 6 machine. Miller Bonds getting ready to come across the start-finish line to finish in that 4th place. Really a quiet day for Miller, but a really great points day for the 12, as he is yet to cross the finish line. Still coming through the corners here to try to finish this up. He's, of course, in the Whataburger corner now. I think he has just a couple corners left. And here he goes, exiting turn 16 onto the straightaway. And Miller Bonds is going to finish in that 4th spot. So great run for the 12. And, of course, Brian Johnson not far back from him, about 2 seconds back. He crosses the line in 5th place. Derek Heitman is going to cross the line in 6th. Kyle Holden has not yet. He's yet to cross it, but he's going to come out of turn 16. And then he's going to cross the finish line in 7th place. And, of course, Tim Wortman Jr., going to take him a little bit of time to get up to the start-finish line. But, of course, he's going to barely maintain the lead lap status, and he is going to finish in 8th place. And how about that? So let's go ahead and go run down through the results as they run, as everybody has crossed the start-finish line. As I mentioned, Abner Acosta, the dominant winner here of the night. Matt DeCiani finishes 2nd. Brandon Passalacqua in 3rd. Miller Bonds in 4th. Brian Johnson 5th. Derek Heitman in 6th. Kyle Holden 7th. Tim Wortman Jr. in 8th. 9th, Josh Schultz in his first race. John Bender in 10th.
And that's going to put Greg Wachinski in 11th. 12th place, Randy Mullins. 13th, Frank Flores. Jay Hone in 14th. 15th shows Jose Medina. J.C. Evans in 16th. 17th is Randy Drumhiller. 18th place, Mark Sanchez. 19th place, Alexander Carr. And Kenny Powell rounds out the top 20.
Of course, 21st, Greg Carr. Blair Holloman in 22nd. Kenneth Bartholomew in 23rd. Paul Olson finishes in 24th. With that, we're going to take a brief step away. We'll be right back, and we'll talk to our top 3 finishers.
Advance Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advance Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series, as we have just completed our race at the Circuit of the Americas. 47 laps completed here, 161 miles complete. What a race we saw here tonight. We're going to talk to, of course, our third place finisher first off, Brandon Pasalacqua. Brandon, what a race for you, man. You seemed like you had the pace to keep up with Abner for quite a while there. What kind of separated you guys? Because it seemed like you were right there with him for a long time. What was the difference?
Yeah, it's lack of talent on my end. I'm not. I struggled with tires and lap. Like once we had about 10 laps on tires, for some reason I really struggled with my lap times and handling of the car. So I knew that was my weak point. And Abner is phenomenal and consistent, and he just gets quicker where I get slower. So I was proud of myself because I was about a second faster this year versus last year. I know track conditions and stuff play a big part in that, but definitely made progress in road racing for me. So I was just happy to be racing him and Matt.
And that's a big thing I think we should talk about is how you improved. I think that you seemed like just way better than you were last year. How did you improve? Was it the paradigm endurance racing that you did? Did that kind of give you a little bit more reps and chops when it came to road course racing?
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's all I did in the off season was IMSA stuff on the sim, and I love that style of racing much more. It's more of a you're racing the track and not necessarily other people, and I find that a lot of fun. So that's all I did during the off season. Didn't do much cup car stuff, and obviously the cars are totally different. We run the LMP2, so obviously that's a lot easier to handle. But I mean, in terms of running a road course, a lot of things are similar in terms of how you attack the corners and maximizing your apex and getting off exits. So I think Abner last year he won this race again, and I think he said the same thing. Just having that experience and endurance racing and Indy cars or whatever really does help you here in the Cup cars.
It definitely seemed like you were much better for sure. And I think we're going to keep seeing you improve when it comes to road course racing. But awesome points day for you, though. You finished second, I do believe, in both stages, and you finished third here. Now, I was curious, why did you pit that lap earlier and you ended up having to pit a second time?
Yeah, I did not pit when the caution came out at the beginning of the race. Probably should have, but I haven't finished. I've only finished 2 races this year. I've had terrible luck, so I did not want to get put in the back of the pack and take my chances. So I was already short compared to DeCiani and Brian Johnson and the like. So um, whether that's the right call or not, I don't know. And then I've had terrible fuel mileage all week, and I knew last year this came down to a fuel mileage race too, and I tried a few times to manage my lap times and fuel save. I'm just not that good at it yet, so that's an area of opportunity I have next time we come here or another road course.
Okay, definitely understand because I know Abner didn't pit either, but he was still able to make it to
Yeah,
the end. And it's just like you said. I mean, he probably knows how to save and still be fast at the same time, and that's just something that you're going to have to learn. But
that's
Richmond, go ahead.
No, yeah, no, that's definitely how it is. I mean, when Abner was putting down, 2 minute 10-second lap times, like, holy hell, I don't know how you're doing that in saving, but Matt's super good at it too, so they can be quick and save fuel at the same time. So I'm not there yet, so we'll see. We'll try to get better next time.
But still, such an improvement from you, Brandon. We're proud to watch you. We were talking good about you the whole race.
Appreciate it.
Of course, Richmond's coming up next week, I do believe. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be missing that. I'll be missing Richmond next week. Where I'll be going with Randy to do some modified racing up in Richmond. So we'll be racing on that Friday night. So I'm gonna miss the Thursday night race, but I'll be back again wherever we'll go the following week.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you back quickly, and we'll definitely miss you, Brandon. Who can we shout out?
Yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to Abner and Matt. Phenomenal job. Good job to the field today. Trying to take care of each other. I feel like some things have changed this season. It seems like we're a open racing a lot this year as opposed to racing in the league. So it was kind of refreshing to go to a road course where we all can try to take care of each other because we all of us are at different skill levels out here. So just refreshing in that regard. And give a shout out to Kenny for running the league. My boys at Paradigm, Josh or Brian got a top 5, so that was great. And Randy hung on to the top 12. So and also give you Brian and Al a shout out in the booth. Appreciate it.
All right. There's another Brian in the booth. How about that?
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
you and Big Al. Sorry, Big Al and Brian. My bad. Hey, I'm wore
Uh,
out, man. That's a lot of work
I
for race
know
days like
it's
that.
got to be. I mean, that's yeah, physical racetrack for sure. Brandon, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Of course, that's Brandon Pasalaco, driver of the six machine, finishes in third. Really great point save for him. Next up, Big Al standing by with Mr. Matt DeCiani.
Hey, Matt. Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, man, congratulations bringing it home in P2. You started this thing out in P2. Just a long race, was it for you?
Yeah, you could say that. It was. I knew lap 8, I was in a lot of trouble. We missed it setup wise this week pretty bad, and yeah, I knew I was in trouble. I had no front turn, no rear grip, couldn't turn right in any of the right-handers, so I was struggling the whole night. I am dead tired after that race. It was not enjoyable, but somehow I got P2 because Brandon had a pit there, but I honestly had nothing for those guys in front of me at all. I did everything I could, but I really had nothing for them.
Well, you did manage to lead 3 laps in this thing, so that's got to make you feel pretty good, man.
Yeah, sure. It was just pure pit cycle deal because I stopped on that first yellow. Otherwise, it probably would have been a 2-stop for me. There was no way I was getting 23 and 24 laps on a stint this week. But yeah, it
So
was
was
a long race.
so was fuel management something that you were plagued with here through your run?
No, I didn't have to because I stopped on that yellow. You can run 22 solid without saving this week. Anything more than that, you got to save a little bit. So yeah, I knew that yellow worked out for me kind of, but yeah, it was just long day.
Yeah, Roger, I understand that, but next week we're headed to Richmond. Going to be a little bit easier, probably not as much turning. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, Richmond's a good track. It's fun. Hopefully, we can get some longer runs in there, and I think it'll be a blast. Maybe dynamic track works, and we can run more than one lane. That would make that a lot of fun. Probably put on a really good show, but we'll see what happens.
Man, appreciate you coming out tonight doing what you did. I don't know how you did it, but we're just glad you did. Gave us something to talk about up in the booth. Before I let you go, who you shouting out tonight for your second place finish?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for calling the race. Kenny for putting on the league. Shout out to Brandon and Abner for great races.
Man, tell you what, like I say all the time, don't party too hard, bud. And hopefully we'll see you up here in the booth next week as well.
All right, guys, take care.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, driver in the one machine, finishing in second place. Definitely a really good run for him tonight. Was up in the top 5 all night long. Of course, Abner Acosta, though, we're going to talk to him in the 44. Abner, I hate to tell you, but you've been disqualified because you don't have a number on your race car.
Yeah, I always seem to mess it up. I don't know. I don't know what I did wrong, but I think it's because I have to hide the numbers. But then I try to put the paint with the number. I don't know. I always mess it up. But
I hate that. But so that we're now declaring Matt DeCiani is the winner. Just playing Abner. But great job to you, man. I mean, fantastic run from you. I mean, you didn't put a tire wrong here today. I mean, this is the Abner we expect to see. Did you practice it all today, or you just show up and knew what you were doing?
No, no, I've done some practice. And I have a million laps in this track with other cars and everything. So like, I love this track. So honestly, it's 23 seconds seems like a lot, but like for a 47 lap race, that's honestly nothing. Matt and Brendan were really good. I was really surprised with Brandon at the beginning. I was like, am I doing something wrong? Why is he still there? Um, like I was actually getting a little upset. I was like, why can't I get rid of him? And so he did really well. I was super impressed with the pace and Matt as well.
And that was a big difference that we usually see in races in the past, to where no one really has anything for you. But it definitely did seem like Brandon was able to keep up with you and kind of gave you a little bit of some trouble. And we definitely saw that. But of course, on the longer run, you started pulling away, and you were able to turn just mind blowing laps. I mean, a minute 10.4, I think it was your fastest lap, which is just absolutely insane. I mean, how do you turn laps like that? I mean, did you just start to get a rhythm for the race car? What was the track? Did it start to
Uh,
suit you a little bit better?
in NASCAR, the tire. I honestly don't like how the tires are now for road courses, just because you get faster and you just go all out. I preferred it better when your tires will wear out and you will have to be a little easy in the car. But yeah, the car just gets faster. Um, as far as the race, I had problems on like the center of the corner. Like I had no turn in at all. I couldn't like get off the turn really good. Besides that, just the track just gets faster. And I think I heard Brandon about the fuel saving. I didn't save at all, so I'm not sure. I was just going all out, and I could make it. So I don't know. I honestly don't know why he was short, but I didn't save anything. So I don't know.
Well, that's interesting to hear for sure. I mean, that's definitely very curious. Something you guys were doing differently, maybe just naturally the way you were driving it seemed to
Yeah.
maybe lead to you saving somehow. I definitely don't know, but I'm not a road course. I can't explain it because I'm not a road course guy. I would have probably been finishing last in this race. Uh, but a great job to you, Abner, for sure. Putting on another show. I mean, you put on a dominant performance. Do we expect to see you at every road course race? Do we expect to see you at more often in other style of racing as well? I know we've seen you at other races this season as well.
Yeah, it's up in the air. I do have more time now that I've had in the past like year, but um, it's up in the air. Honestly, I'm gonna try for sure to show up more for all tracks, but we'll see what happens. I don't think I'll make all of them, obviously, but uh, you'll see me definitely more often.
Will we see you next week at Richmond?
Uh, yes.
All right. How you like Richmond? I mean, it's a breaking style track. Can you transfer some of the skills that you have here at this track to that track?
Yeah, I'm a road course driver pretty much, so I like any track that you have to get on the brake and like do like any sort of like trail brake and any track that you have to be on the brake I like. So yeah.
And that is something we saw from you last year as well, last season. That it seemed like any track that you had to do some braking, you were fantastic at. So we definitely expect to see you running up front next week, Abner. Who can we shout out after your dominant win here at COTA?
I guess you guys for broadcasting, and I don't know everybody that made the 47 laps because honestly, by lap 43, I raced barefooted. My feet are dead. Like anybody that was even running 20th and still kept going 47 laps to them because that's insane. And shout out to Matt and Brandon for voting.
100%. Definitely big shout out to those guys for keeping you honest, Abner. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week at Richmond.
All right, see you.
Alrighty, that was Abner Acosta, driver of the 44. I think that's his number. He didn't have it on the side of his car, so I don't know. But definitely a great job to him. Man, Big Al, what a race we saw here today. I gotta be honest. I mean, I did not know what to expect, but it was entertaining. I think these guys kept it real close towards the front, and anything could have still happened. But Abner put on a show. What do you think?
Well, I think my shrink is right when he said that I was seldom right but never in doubt, because I don't think I ever been wrong in one single setting as much as I was tonight. So I definitely need a reset for Richmond.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Richmond's going to be a fun one, and I definitely be curious to see how that track looks. You know, of course, we've had a short track update recently with the next gens. What will that look like? I'm very, very, very curious for sure. But definitely a fantastic run from everybody. I got to say, hats off to everybody that
Yes,
ran tonight.
definitely.
I mean,
Hats off to all the
24
drivers. Yeah.
cars. Now, of course, 24 cars didn't finish this race, but I mean, we did have quite a few drivers, 21 drivers, I do believe, that actually managed to at least run most of the laps. I mean, we had, of course, Greg Carr in 21st finished 3 laps down, but still, I mean, even so, to be still out there running and trying their best, so, hats off to them. Of course, got to want to give a big shout out to you, Big Al, for being my co-commentator, my partner in crime. Of course, make sure everybody tune in next week. We're going to be at Richmond Raceway. Broadcast is going to start at about 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the race itself, a little after 9:30, is when the green flag will be flying. Of course, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Kobe Jordan for doing a fantastic job with all the camera work. I mean, he has been getting better and better every week. He's definitely doing better than I was doing whenever I was producing this thing. So we are just so lucky to have him on the broadcast. Big shout out to Kenny Powell for putting on all this and just maintaining this league. But we definitely appreciate it. Appreciate everybody out there watching as well. My name is Brian Britt. We'll see you next time at Richmond. This has been the ISCA Super Cup Series. Have a great night.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, you know, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. You know, B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes. And